Wow, wow, do you now? How you like it, doggy style?
I put this video out before, but I wanted to level it up, so I've added some new audio and video footage to make it as complete as possible. I'm also planning to upgrade some other older videos as well to improve the quality, and of course a lot of new videos will be uploaded as well. And with that being said, now let's jump straight into the topic of this video. As everyone knows, Snoop Dogg's album Doggy Style was released in '93 and it's an all-time classic. The plan was actually to release the album in '94, but this was moved to November 23 in '93 because of Death Row's mainstream in-store demand for Snoop's album. Several classic tracks were created during the Doggy Style recording sessions, and in this video we're going to do a breakdown of 13 leftover tracks that didn't make it on the final album. And the first track we will cover in this video is G's Up, Hoes Down. This track is not really a leftover because it was released on the very first CDs and tapes of Doggy Style, and it was produced by none other than Dr. Dre. On some releases it was the last track on the album, and on other early releases it was almost the final track and it was listed before the final track, Pump Pump. And for many people, G's Up, Hoes Down was one of the favorite tracks on the album because of the laid back, pimped out sound. Snoop's flow is on point and he does an incredible job like on every track on the album. But unfortunately, it was removed on later pressings of the album because of a dispute due to the sample of Isaac Hayes' song, The Look of Love. Dre never got clearance of Isaac Hayes for sampling the song, and therefore it was removed on later releases. Snoop also explained the situation on his GGN News show.
On the first 100,000 copies of Doggy Style.
But was that what was the reason?
We couldn't clear the sample from
Oh, okay.
Isaac Hayes. So if you happen to have that, one of those exclusive copies, then you got it. I don't even got it.
Years later, in 2006, the song was released on the compilation album 50 Years on Death Row. The track also features singer Big Hug, who can also be heard on other Death Row tracks such as Stay Awake featuring The Outlaws, Lost Souls featuring OFTB, and All Dogs Go to Heaven featuring Red Rum. He was also featured on the track Smoke On, which we will discuss later in this video. It's a real shame G's Up, Hoes Down was removed from the Doggy Style album because the track finishes the album smoothly and with a completely different feel. So if you have a CD or cassette of the first Doggy Style release, including the track G's Up, Hoes Down, you have a gem in hands which even Snoop himself doesn't even have. The second track we will cover in this video is the original version of The Next Episode. The song was listed on the track listing provided to retailers before the album's release, but unfortunately it was not featured on any pressings of the album. The reason it was never released is because Suge and Dre didn't clear the Les McCann sample that is used on the track. Dr. Dre then gave a stripped down version with missing layers to his stepbrother Warren G, and Warren G recorded the track Running With No Brakes for his album Regulate G-Funk Era. Death Row kept the original version of the beat in their catalog and engineering vault, and Crooked Eye recorded the song Real Talks with exactly the same beat that is used on the original version of The Next Episode. A track with the title The Next Episode was also released on Dr. Dre's album Chronic 2001, but this version has no similarities with the original version, which has been leaked online, but unfortunately it's in low quality. So keep your hopes up and maybe one day it will be available in high quality.
LGs, not BGs, but OGs. What about the one that's no please? I ain't got time to be such a for even if you giving up dope, yo, no baby.
The third track we will cover in this video is Doggy Style featuring Jewel and George Clinton. The track shares its name with the album and discusses the subject of the title, Doing It Doggy Style. It was recorded during the album sessions, remaining unreleased until its inclusion on the compilation album The Lost Sessions Volume 1 that was released in 2009. There's also a demo version or original version of the Doggy Style track that can be found online, which has some slightly differences compared to the version that was released on the Lost Sessions album. Dr. Dre produced the beat, and it's supposed that the track was an introduction to the Doggy Style album. The track was played on the radio about a month before Doggy Style came out. It's likely that the issue of sample taking and the hasty album process prevented it from appearing on the album. A fun fact is that the bass line was also used for the Dog Pound track A Dog's Day Afternoon that was released on the Dog Food album. A Dog's Day Afternoon beat was also used for an unreleased, untitled track which is a demo version of A Dog's Day Afternoon, which featured Snoop Dogg, Warren G, Corrupt, Dez, and Trey D, that was recorded during the Murder Was the Case movie soundtrack studio sessions. And this was also around the time that Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre had beef with Eazy-E, and that's why Snoop also dissed Eazy on this track.
We chill in the cut, we tryna find Easy so we can f*** him up. Go what the fuck is up? In the place to see, coming on the mic is Snoop Doggy Double G.
The fourth track that didn't make it on the Doggy Style album is the original version of Every Single Day featuring Corrupt and Nate Dogg. Dogg Pound rapper and producer Dez produced 4 tracks in total for Doggy Style, and Every Single Day is the first record he produced for the album. Other tracks he produced are For All My Ants and Bees, Ain't No Fun If the Homies Can Have None, and the fourth record he did was Serial Killer. But according to some people, Serial Killer was produced by Dr. Dre and Chris the Glove Taylor, not Dez. As you know, the last 3 tracks made it on the album and Every Single Day was left off. Some lyrics that Snoop uses on this track were also used for the classic track G's and Hustlers that was also released on the Doggy Style album. The original version of Every Single Day has been leaked and can be found online. A fun fact is that it's often thought that Jewel is featured on the original version, but that's actually Nate Dogg with a high-pitched voice. And on the original version, the DOC can also be heard briefly in the background when Snoop says, "Pass the number 1 spot like a ball." On a tape that was recorded around the time of the Murder Was the Case movie soundtrack recording sessions, there were also 2 versions of Every Single Day on which Snoop's lyrics have been replaced by Dez's. And in some parts, Dez also used Snoop's lyrics and flow from the original version.
P-O-U-N-D, real OG, pass the number 1 spot like a ball.
Years later, an alternate version was officially released on the compilation Death Row Presents the Dogg Pound, and on this version, Jewel was featured instead of Nate Dogg.
Every single day, every single day.
So now you know the full story behind this dope track. And that brings us to the 5th leftover track from the Doggy Style album, which is an outro titled The Root of All Evil. This track is produced by Dr. Dre and performed by Snoop Doggy Dogg, featuring Lady T, who was also known as Tina Marie, the Ivory Queen of Soul. Unfortunately, she has passed away at the age of 54 on the day after Christmas in 2010. The song was released on the Lost Sessions album in 2009 and it's a smooth track with a nice beat. Snoop doesn't rap on it, but he does some laid back talking, and Tina Marie also does a great job in her performance, and overall it's a very nice collaboration. There's also a demo version of this track available with some extra vocals from Snoop Dogg and Tina Marie. A sample of the song Intimate Connection by the funk band The Clears was used for the beat, and this sample was later also used for the remix of the classic track California Love by Dr. Dre and Tupac. Next up is the 6th track that we'll cover in this video, which is Ants Don't Give a F. It was also recorded during the Doggy Style sessions and originally meant to be on the album, but it got swapped for the track For All My Ants and Bees, which was actually meant for the Dogg Pound's album Dog Food. Ants Don't Give a F was released on the Poetic Justice movie soundtrack, and it supposedly was the first track that was recorded during the Doggy Style sessions. Dez and Corrupt spit some tight verses, and Snoop also has a small part on the track, and he uses some lyrics that he also used on the track For All My Ants and Bees.
Throw your guns in the motherfucking air. We don't care. Just don't give a fuck about nothing at all. Just my dogs and clocking the grip.
Dr. Dre produced the beat and also does some talking on the beginning and end of the song. The Lady of Rage can also be heard at the end of the track and finishes it off. There are also 2 demo versions that were leaked online, and one of them is referred to as Original Version 1, and this version has a smoother vibe to it.
Little does he know there's a crew of niggas waiting to put them on their hood, and they've been anticipating. Fix my khakis as I stepped in, I parked my ride.
The other demo version is referred to as Original Version 2, and it has more similarities to the version that was released on the Poetic Justice movie soundtrack.
Little does he know there's a crew of niggas waiting to put them on their hood, and they've been anticipating. Fix my khakis as I stepped in, I parked my ride.
Both demo versions can be found online, so you should definitely make sure to check them out if you've never heard them before. Now let's move on to the next track that was recorded during the Doggystyle sessions, which is Smoke On. And as the title indicates, this track is about Snoop's favorite hobby, smoking weed. It's a perfect laid-back track to blaze a joint to. The beat was produced by Dr. Dre and a sample was used from the track Float On by the Floaters. Big Hug also can be heard on this track, who was also featured on the track G's Up Hoes Down, which was covered earlier in this video. The track has been in the vault for years and both the clean version and the uncensored version can now be found online.
So I guess you can say I'm blessed, so here's a toast to my success. Let's get our smoke on.
Track number 8 that we will cover in this video is titled Big Bitches, because you know, big girls need love too. And this is another dope track from the Death Row Records vault. The beat was produced by Dr. Dre during the Doggystyle recording sessions and a sample was used from the track I Like It by DeBarge. And this sample was also used for the Warren G track titled I Want It All. Probably Warren G brought the sample to Dre during the Doggystyle sessions, then it wasn't used, so he later used the sample again for his own album. A part of Snoop's first verse from the track Big Bitches was later reused for the track You Thought that appeared on his second album The Dogfather.
I like big bitches cause they love us, and big bitches always take charge. Wanna grab a skinny nigga like Snoop Dogg.
There's also a video available of a young Snoop Dogg doing a freestyle on a TV show in which he uses lyrics from the track Big Bitches.
Like big women cause they so large. Big women always take charge. They wanna grab a skinny brother like Snoop Dogg, because they say that I'm skinny and tall. But a big woman got a hell of a grip to grab a hold of. That's why I say that I'm in love with big women.
The next track that we will cover in today's video is the original version of Dog Pound for Life featuring Corrupt and Dez. The track is produced by Dez, and on the original version Snoop uses the same lyrics as on the track Pump Pump that was released on the Doggystyle album. The track was later released on the Above the Rim movie soundtrack, and on this release Snoop has recorded a new verse that is different from the original version, and the DOC can also be heard at the end of the track. The 10th track on the list of today's video is titled Falling Asleep on Death Row. This track was produced by Dr. Dre and did not make it into the Doggystyle album. Years later the track was released on the album The Lost Sessions in 2009, and Snoop also used some of his lyrics on the track Never Leave Me Alone, which also featured Nate Dogg.
I'm mobbing through the county main line back in 9500, just trying to handle mine. Spitting game at the homies about the good old days as we try to pass time, waiting for the change. I'm mobbing through the county main line back in 9500, just trying to handle mine. Spitting game at my homies about the good old days as we try to pass time, waiting for the change.
Some of the lyrics were also used for the track One Life to Live, which was also released on the Lost Sessions album.
Mobbing through the county main line back in 9500 on the grind. Spitting game at the homies about the good old days while we try to pass time, waiting for the change.
And some of the lyrics were also used for hit rocks that appeared on the Dead Man Walking album.
Get it, got it, shoot it, shot it. Now they call me Snoop Doggy. Get it, got it, spot it, shoot it, shot it. And now they call me Snoop Dogg.
The track also features some lyrics Snoop also used for the Nothing But a G-Thing freestyle remix that was released on the Nothing But a G-Thing single. On this version the word cops was censored, in which Snoop says, I shot plenty ends and cops saw F one time. But on Falling Asleep on Death Row you can hear the uncensored lyrics.
Al Capone was a hero of mine. I shot plenty niggas and cops so one time. Al Capone was a hero of mine. I shot plenty niggas and cops so one time.
The next track that was recorded during the Doggystyle recording sessions is titled Poor Dave. This was also produced by Dr. Dre and it was released years later on a special edition of The Chronic as a bonus track. In this song, Snoop tells the story of a kid named Dave who never obeyed and got himself in trouble. Eventually, Dave was killed in a drive-by after being snitched by his homie Mick. CPO Boss Hogg has also recorded a track titled Full Name Mick, and in this song he tells a story from Mick's perspective.
Boss Hogg, about to speak on this fool named Mick who did foul shit to make him wealthy. But what the f was you expecting from a self-made chick?
both tracks fit together perfectly. And by the way, I also made a very detailed video about Boss Hogg, and you can find it on the channel, so check it out if you haven't already, if you want to know his full story. The lyrics that Snoop uses on Poor Dave have also been used by him on other tracks such as Midnight Love and One Life to Live.
Mischievous and devious is how his life was. Putting his serve down with cabbie just to keep the cluckers buzz. Some of the money making motherfuckers from the other side was thinking about a jack move, trying to hoorah. Mischievous and devious is how my life was. Putting his serve down with cabbie just to keep the cluckers buzz. Some of the money making motherfuckers from the other side was thinking about a jack move, trying to hoorah. Mischievous and devious is how his life was. Putting his serve down with cabbie just to keep the cluckers buzz. Some of the money making motherfuckers from the other side was thinking about a jack move, trying to hoorah.
The same lyrics and variations of it have also been used by other rappers such as Lil C Style on the song Gangsta Gangsta.
Mischievous and devious, that's just my life. Putting the serve down with cabbie just to keep the cluckers buzz. Some of the money making young hustlers from the other side was plotting on a jack move, trying to hoorah.
And I also made a very detailed video about Lil C Style that covers his full story, so if you're interested in that, make sure to check it out. There's also a version of Dave recorded by Lil Bow Wow when he was just a little kid and affiliated with Death Row, in which he used Snoop's lyrics. And RBX also used Snoop's lyrics from Poor Dave on his first album.
Crash from the gun, Eli lays an ash smash. It hits the front page quick. Now business is conducted by this fool named Mick.
Crash from the gun, Dave lies in ash smash. It hits the front page quick. Now business is conducted by that fool named Mick.
So clearly this track has some history to it. Now let's move on to the 12th track that we will cover in this video, which is titled Eat a Dick. This track was also produced by Dr. Dre and remained in the vault for years until it was released on the Lost Sessions album. Snoop uses his verse from the track Doggy Dogg World, which was released on the Doggystyle album, and the bass line of the beat was also used for the classic track Serial Killer that was also released on Doggystyle.
Everywhere I go, I'm hearing motherfuckers trying to steal my flow, but it ain't no thing, cause see my nigga Coolio put me up on the game when I stepped in the door.
At the beginning of the track, you can also hear Lil Malik, who was also known as Hershey Loke, and he was the kid rapper that was also featured on Pump Pump that was released on Doggystyle.
That's true. You run this shit, Mike, and you never forget. No one can do it better than you, Snoopy.
There are also a few instrumentals and an interlude that have leaked that were recorded for the Doggystyle recording sessions. The first untitled instrumental was produced by Tony Green and Dr. Dre, and here's a snippet of it. Another untitled instrumental was created on March 22 in '93. It was produced by Dr. Dre, and up next is a snippet of that instrumental. The next untitled instrumental was also produced by Tony Green and Dr. Dre, and supposedly the date was created was the 1st of July in '93, and it sounds like this. Another Doggystyle leftover instrumental was titled God Don't Like Ugly, and it sounds like this. There's also an unused interlude titled Something About the Buddha. It was produced by Dr. Dre, and it sounds like this.
Something about the Buddha, it got into my head. Something about the Buddha.
And that brings us to the last track that we will cover in this video, which was actually not recorded for the Doggystyle album, but it does have some similarities, and that's why it's included in this video. The track title is 321 by Criss Cross featuring Snoop Doggy Dogg. On the track, Snoop uses some lyrics from the tracks Pump Pump and G's Up Hoes Down.
The behavior and the flavor make me wanna hit that ass up with the dough, man. players and pimps listen. Snoop Doggy Dogg on the mic, pay attention. Ladies and gents, players and pimps listen. Snoop Doggy Dogg on the mic, pay attention.
And the song was supposed to be on the Bomb album by Criss Cross, but it was scrapped and replaced with the track I'm Real. Snoop was taken off as Lil Malik became part of the Dogg Pound, and therefore there was a conflict of interest because Lil Malik was a member of the Dogg Pound and he had beef with Criss Cross from the Juvenile days. I believe that Criss Cross mentioned in an interview once that it was scrapped due to sample clearing, so that might be another reason why it was left off the album. The lyrics of 321 were rewritten by Snoop for the track Pom Pom featuring Lil Malik and ended up on the Doggystyle album. So that was a complete breakdown of leftover tracks for the Doggystyle album, and hopefully this video provided you with some new information about what was going on during the Doggystyle era. If you have any additional information,
Well, let it be known then.
and drop a comment below. Check out the channel for more interesting Death Row related videos.
Y'all don't love us. Y'all don't love us.
If you do, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel.
So bow down to the bow wow, cause bow wow, yippee yo, you can't see my flow.